And from the sporting front, Kenya is hosting two major African championships. Today is a rest day, and this is the Continent Cup T20 Africa. This is a cricket tournament. It started on Friday. Today is a rest day and continues tomorrow. We shall be having a journalist from Uganda. He's a cricket commentator, Innocent Ndawula. He's going to be joining us. He's been all across the continent covering the sports, so he has the knowledge to tell us about that. But also, at the Nairobi Club, we've got the Billie Jean Cup Africa Group 3 Championship. This is basically the World Cup of women's tennis. And Kenya, they are playing now against Morocco. They are in Pool A. And the other teams in Pool A are Botswana, Nigeria, Uganda, and Namibia. In Pool B, the teams are Tunisia, Ghana, Burundi, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, and the Seychelles. So that is what we're going to be looking at. And also, our colleague Mary Wavinya is going to be speaking with two FIA World Rally stars, Jeremiah Wahome and Hamza Anwar. So we are going to be linking up with her later. And also, happening at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies, Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, the Arts and Sports, the Honorable Ababuna Mwamba, is going to be opening the third Kenya Academy of Sports International Conference that's taking place at the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. That is our news outlook for today. Now, next, let's talk about the Safari Rally and the people who are there. Every car has got two people. There is the driver and you've got the navigator. Now, we all know what the driver does, the pedals, the wheel, and all that. But there is the role of a navigator in rallying. My colleague, Mary Wavinya, spoke to the first indigenous African to win the Safari Rally. That was way back in 2006 when he was navigating as Anwar. Let's hear from George Mwangi on the role of a navigator.
We are still on the road to the WRC Safari Rally this year in 2023, and of course there are people who actually are behind the driver, not even behind, besides the driver, doing a lot to make sure that they finish the rally. And what you normally see them doing is they're reading out the pace notes. We're used to people writing before. I don't know if they write C1, N1 or something like that, but I'm sure there's always a handbook which they follow. And I'm joined by one of the most experienced navigators. Retired navigators, but he can still do it. That is George Mwangi. Just to tell me what is it that they write. I don't even know what I was writing. Maybe I'm writing my own things. I'm imagining there's a corner, yes. Maybe there's a junction, barrier, I don't know, sharp corner, blah, blah, blah. So something like this. Yes. I don't know, but he's the expert to do that. So what does a navigator do, and what are those pace notes they follow, they write?
So as organizers of the WRC Safari Rally, as a case study, what we do, we give drivers a roadbook. You can see this is roadbook 1 for the 2023 Safari Rally. As per the regulation, it should be A5, but this is just for our use as we are editing and checking the route. So we give them the roadbook. That is the book that they should follow. They should follow the route as per the roadbook. Yeah. So this is how the roadbook looks like. This is Roldia stage. Yeah? This will be run on Friday morning. So from the service park, when they get to Roldia, when you get to the start, you see their coordinates. So you know exactly where the start is. Yeah? Again, see this. It shows that's a medical point. We have an MIV, medical intervention vehicle, and we have a radio point.
It looked like a sharp corner to me.
No, that's a radio point. Yeah. And this is the start of the stage. So the stage is from Roldia to Geothermal, that is through the special stage, and the transport to Geothermal is 53.12 kilometers. You have 1 hour, 15 minutes. The average speed is 42.5. Because after the special stage, you are not supposed to be speeding. So that's why we have this. Yeah. So as you can see, we have 0, 0. So when you get to the start point, you zero your trip meter. In navigation, we have a trip meter. So you 0-0. And 320 meters, there's a fork right. So when you get here, you fork. It shows there is a road this way and there is a road this way. Now, when you're doing recce, in between here, there could be other instructions. This is just the danger notes. However, in case of an incident in the stage, the C of C, if it's doing any communication or a bulletin, you refer, let's say there was an incident at kilometer 0.54. You say refer to notebook 1, page 87, yeah, box 4, kilometer 0.54. There is this incident.
So do you write here? Or do you how do you note?
As a navigator now, you keep this aside, but you always have it in the car because you have your pace notes. However, during recce, the radio points or the marshals who will be manning the radio points are there on recce because the radio points are very important. And as a competitor, you must note where the radio points are. So even during recce, those marshals must be there. Yes. Yeah. So you don't write on this. You have another book, like you had your notebook.
Like mine.
Yes.
Like mine, which I can write.
Let's say, for example, so what you start, you write 00.
00.
Yes. Then 320.
Besides, yeah.
Yes. Now this is 300. This is the distance.
Yeah.
In meters, yeah. Don't write M.
Just that.
Just 320. Turn first right at junction.
Okay. So I write the full.
No.
Turn right.
T. Yeah.
Yeah. F.
R. Yes.
Turn.
At first right.
At first right.
Yes.
Wow.
At.
So this is A.
No. Then you put shorthand.
Yeah.
You remember when you had the secretary's shorthand?
Yes.
The pace notes are in shorthand.
Okay, and you should be able to understand them.
Yes. You know, as a navigator, I write what the driver tells me because it is his interpretation of the route, of the instruction, of the day.
For a navigator, you must be focused,
and you must be able to adapt to any driver.
And any eventuality. Like, let's say, an animal crossing.
Those are occupational hazards.
Which it's upon the driver's discretion to know what to do.
Yeah, you deal with situations as they come.
So the navigator's main work is just to guide the driver. To make sure they finish.
And the timing also.
And timing.
Yes.
They're the ones who give, actually at the control points, they're the ones who give out the
time card.
Yes. Now you know. It sounds like geography, mathematics, but I think it's all to do with how focused you are, how you are able to concentrate and deliver.
You see, in the car, the navigator is a manager. You've done your calculations with the distance, you know how much fuel you want, because you know the consumption of your car, you know how much fuel you need. You just don't go full tank. Most of these top drivers, they are very particular about the weight of the car. That's why you hear, maybe you've seen in some rallies, you hear a driver has only one spare wheel. He's trying to reduce on the weight.
Okay.
Yes.
And if we argue, like, we are human beings, maybe you're shouting at me and I don't like being... Do they argue in the car?
Yes. But the thing is, we should avoid. Fine, there'll be
road rage
instances where temperatures are, but you are a team. So we should focus.
So at least today you've learned something new about what a navigator's role is and what are pace notes. And we are just trying to demystify the rally language for you so that you understand before the WRC takes off at Uhuru Park.
Yes.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
Back to you.
Yeah, that is Mary Wavinya, who was out at the Kasarani Super Special stage, and she had a conversation with George Mwangi. He's currently the deputy clerk of the course, but he is a rally navigator. Basically, sits with the driver. He's the one who's in charge of, planning everything for the driver, reading the, and also including, most importantly, what they're known for on a stage, which is reading out the notes and the kind of language that they use. So remember, KBC Channel 1, we shall be bringing you 5 stages live on TV of the WRC Safari Rally. We shall have the Kasarani Super Special on Thursday the 22nd. And on Saturday, the 24th, we shall have Elementaita 1 and Elementaita 2. That's at 9 a.m. and at 3 p.m. And on Sunday, we shall bring you live the stage that is also the Wolf Power stage. We're talking about Hell's Gate 1 at 9 a.m. And then from 2 p.m. we shall have Hell's Gate 2, which is a Wolf Power stage, and is also the simple ceremony where the top 3 drivers will be awarded. Look out for that and more features. And also Mary Wavinya is out there, and she'll be talking to FIA rally star Jeremiah Wahome, who is where he's preparing his car. Now, so time for us to get into a conversation. Kenya hosting a huge event. For the first time since 2016, Kenya has not hosted a major cricket competition. It's 7 years of waiting. And Kenya at the moment is hosting 3 countries, Uganda, Rwanda, and Botswana. And this is in the Continent Cup T20 Africa. And to have that conversation, we've got 2 of the coaching staff from 2 of the participating countries. On my immediate left, I've got Adeline Tuyizere. I have that right? Definitely. Right. So I can easily move to Kigali. Or what's the proper name of Kigali? Is it Chigari or Kigali? Chigari.
Yeah.
Good. Now we have that right. And so he's the assistant coach of the Rwanda national team. And right there, just next to him, is a legend of Kenyan cricket. He was man of the match. It was way back, 21 years ago when you beat, was it 01 or 02?
201.
201. 22 years ago when Kenya beat India in South Africa, but he had to come back immediately after that. But those were some of the glorious moments. He was in that team, Joseph Angara, and is now the coach of the Botswana national team who are here. Welcome, Joseph.
Good morning. Thank you.
Joseph. I mean, I might be tempted to call you Joseph, so don't worry. But straight, for you, Angara, because you're here home, but you're bringing a different team. But having a series like this in your home country after all these years, what's that feeling when you got the communication about this competition?
Well, we are excited very much to be here. Personally, bringing a team to my motherland is very exciting. And I'm sure the boys are very excited to be participants of this event.
Adeline,
yes,
Rwanda now, here you are. I know you've benefited a lot from another Kenyan legend, Martin Suji. But here you are playing in this competition. You're feeling about this? Because I know there's qualifying tournaments or friendly matches here, but a tournament like this.
Yes, thank you very much. It is our pleasure to be here in Kenya and also playing these big teams. I call them big teams because back then we used to say that we need to play more cricket than what we do back home. So it is very good to be playing Kenya, to be playing Uganda. Some days back we couldn't be playing them. So it is our chance to make sure that it will be a stepping stone towards the qualifiers in Namibia this November.
Now, let me just come to you, and you could just tell us about the progress that you've made as Rwanda cricket over the years. Because, forgot, Rwanda is also hosting the national team, the women's Kwibuka tournament.
Yeah.
But just give us the progress that you've made as a nation over the years.
Now, the game of cricket in Rwanda started just like yesterday, only 20 years old. So it is something I can say that we've been from far, but again, we were driven by knowing where we want to be. So looking at where cricket started, participating in an ICC tournament in first in 2005, and going forward, we came to establish the age category teams, the women's national team, the men's national team. Some days back, it was only Indians playing the game back in Rwanda. But looking at how our team is as of now, all the players are locals. And also looking at the team that we are having, we have a very young team. So that shows how the development programs are working. They are working very well, and it is showing. We have a team which averages at 25 years old. So looking at them playing more cricket for the nation for a very, very long time.
Well, Angara, you were here in Kenya back, and this was for the qualifiers for the 2019 Under-19 World Cup. And 4 years later, still based in Gaborone, and what has been the development that you've seen in that side over those years?
We've done very well. Yes, last time we were here for the Under-19 qualifiers, that was 2017. And so far, if you look at the team that I was with that time, we have 5 players in this team now. So that's a quite huge gap. And especially that we are not playing so much international cricket compared to Uganda and Kenya. So it's a big step for the boys who've actually shown that with more exposure like this kind of games, they'll definitely develop to be good cricketers.
What are the success stories that you've seen in those over 6 years?
Well, in 2018, we hosted the ICC qualifiers. That's where we beat Namibia. That was our biggest, 2018. And the same year again, we still won the Southern Africa region qualifiers. Yeah.
Now, every time you see this, you are doing this coaching, especially for for a country like let me see, Botswana, doesn't have the kind of population numbers that Uganda, Rwanda, and this may do. What's your strategy when going to look for the players? From the Kenyan experience, at one point, the national team could easily have been a Nairobi combined. But what are the opportunities that you've seen?
Well, I'm a believer that a strong development program is a strong national team. So we have regions that we have our development coaches who are coaching there on primary school and junior secondary schools. So we pick our players from that. So we have the under-13s, under-15s, and under-17 that the players go through the pathway.
Okay. Let's talk about this tournament now that's going on, the Continent Cup T20 Africa. Today is a rest day. That's why we can have Adeline and Joseph Angara here, because I know tomorrow is back to business. After 3 days of playing, because the format is simple. It's round robin. You play each team
3 times.
3 times. Just give us your experiences, from the first matches the matches that you played against Uganda, against Rwanda, and against Kenya.
We've actually improved from game 1. I'm sure the butterflies are off the players now. We lost to Uganda in the first game. We beat Rwanda in the second game. And yesterday we lost to Kenya. So sometimes for myself, playing Kenya and Uganda, which are big teams who are ranked ahead of us, is a big opportunity, and the players take it as a challenge. It's a learning opportunity for these young boys.
Playing again, let's talk about Kenya now. Because now when you just take a look at the standards that that you had set, and having seen Kenya, try deep but get back up. What is it that you saw in this T20, especially the T20 format, because it's a game of expression?
Well, if you look at both teams, you can see the experience from Kenya and the young boys from Botswana. So, yes, they're here to learn, and as much as possible also to compete to that top level, because this is the kind of games that they need. We just back from South Africa last week for the Southern region where we won, so we came up with the momentum, and the boys are ready to learn.
For you, for your team, I know some people will just say, okay, Namibia, they are 92, but what have been the learning experiences for your boys, especially when, facing some experienced people? I'll think of who, on the Kenyan side, Shem Ngoche, and also Vraj Patel, whose deliveries can be a problem for any of the players.
Yeah, facing the likes of Shem Ngoche and bowling to Colin Sobuya, Rake Patel, it's actually a good learning experience from these boys. So we got more games to come, and I know the boys were going to improve by each and every game.
Let me come to you, Adeline.
Yep.
Your 3 matches that you played, Botswana, Kenya, and Uganda. Just take us through each of the matches.
I will start by the first game against Kenya. It was a very exciting game, looking at the boys, how they played. It was our first time scoring 3 figures. So normally we were scoring 70s, 50s, but this time round we came saying that we are here to learn. But again, we are playing a big team with a lot of experiences in the team, with the likes of Obuya, Rakeb Patel. But again, we say that no, you can't go in a cricket match looking forward to play a name. You play a cricket ball. So we are here to compete. We scored 136. So they chased down the score in 19 overs. So it was a positive for us, which we took it into our next game against Botswana. So it was...
Let me just come down to that, because when you talk about 19 overs, it means that you really pushed them to the edge. What is it that you did around your bowling such that the Kenyan players felt that pressure?
The only thing was the main goal was to take the game close, because it wasn't a big total to a Kenyan side, but we said, let's take the game close at least. So the bowling was tight, good lines, good lengths, and the fielding was up to the maximum. We took all our catches, so we made sure that any chance coming to us, we swallow. So that was the main thing, actually.
Now, the next game.
Botswana. It was... the boys say that it's a derby, because we played Botswana once, last year in Rwanda. We beat them. This time around, it was a motivation, but again, don't forget that they've come from a winning moments from South Africa. So we say that we don't have to underestimate any team. So we go game by game, hard and strong. So we made sure we do our best out there in the field, but the batting order didn't click. So we lost early wickets, which costed us a lot at the end.
Your neighbors,
Uganda,
to the north.
Now Uganda, since cricket has begun in Rwanda, we have never won against Uganda. But again, we are looking forward to that, because this cricket game is funny. So sometimes you go out there in the middle, you put up a score, like the very first game against Kenya, we were right there, almost there. But Uganda, when we batted first, we knew that they are going to bring spinners in at the start, which is what they did. So we made sure that we kept rotating. The only thing they did best was they don't give you a chance. So when a catch was coming, that was a chance, it was taken. So they took a very brilliant catches, which costed us a lot at the end of the game.
And so far, Adeline, looking at the real thing about cricket, continuously playing, what are you seeing about the introduction of this competition?
This competition brings more of exposure to the boys, as in it was our first time the men's team are playing in Kenya. And looking at our team, as I said at the start, we have a young team. So the main goal is to expose them more in the international cricket, to make sure that they play for long and they play consistently. Because looking at from this June until November, every month there is an ICC tournament. So we are looking forward to that, to make sure that those are the build-up games towards the World Cup qualifiers in Namibia. So it is a good opportunity for us to learn from all the teams, from each and everyone.
Okay. Angara, let me come to you now. And this is because you've had the experience of, what would I say, being consistently on tour. Let's just say what the introduction of this tournament and how it's going to change the face of the continent, because I think for this tournament, the only thing that we are missing is, the only teams that want to be there and we're missing are Nigeria and Tanzania, incidentally coached by two other Kenyan stars. Steve Tikolo is in Nigeria, Jimmy Kamande in TZ. But just, give the experience of being on tour.
Actually, I want to thank the organizers for bringing such kind of competition, and countries like Rwanda and Botswana need this kind of opportunity to play more cricket. The more cricket you play, the more exposure you get, and the better you become. So if we can be having such kind of tournaments, even if it's every 6 months, definitely you see the improvement coming from these two countries. We are happy to be here. The boys are excited, and we're looking forward for, this is the first time actually that Botswana is playing this kind of matches ever since. I mean, playing 9 games in 2 weeks is not something easy. So it also needs a lot of mental toughness, and of course, you'll see a lot of improvement.
All right, we'll be joined by Innocent Ntabula in a very short time. He's from Uganda, and he's a cricket commentator. He knows what the scene is in the African continent, because whenever you find that there's a tournament, be it Nigeria, be it Zimbabwe, be it in Uganda or Rwanda, he will always be there. He's also a sports writer, but it's good. He's going to be joining us soon. But Angara, you can actually tell the story, having played at the highest level. You could just actually tell how you developed, that toughness that Kenya was known to have, and that was from say from around 97 going on to around 2005, the peak years of Kenyan cricket.
I mean, I'm happy that we had an opportunity. I mean, being born in Park Road, where there was a cricket ground, we used to cross under the fence to go watch cricket at Sally Sports Club. We used to mostly, sometimes you want to go and eat them chele. But now that made us to watch the game. We started being ball boys from there. So we started learning the game at an early age. Then we were lucky also to have enough club games that we played, and every game that we used to play was a challenge. So that challenge from your practice to bring it to the club level into the national team. And we also had enough exposure, I mean, going to India, Ranji Trophy players coming into Kenya, so that we had a lot of exposure for us to actually, by the time we were achieving, we reached the semi-final of 2003 World Cup. We were in India in 1993, 18 of us. 2003, 12 of us were in this team. So it's how much we came along, how much we knew each other, and how much we had blended, and how to motivate each other.
Okay. All right. And right now we are joined by cricket commentator and writer. His name is Innocent Ntabula. Innocent, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Daniel. Nice to be here.
All right. Good, and welcome to Kenya once again. Because this is basically almost your second home.
And I feel very upset when you call me a cricket commentator. I prefer you call me a sports journalist.
Journalist.
Yeah, because I was here with you in just the other month ago for the Magical Kenya Open Golf. So we had a lot of good time at Mtaiga. And then I was here for the football, a couple of and the athletics championship, the under-20 championship. Yeah, when we saw someone do crazy times in 100 meters, that Kenyan young boy. So please keep it to sports. Cricket is my love, yes, my passion, but I love sports.
Okay.
Yes.
There is this. You are, I would have to say, one of the most troubled, cricket writers that we have on the continent at the moment. And first of all, the first 3 days of the Continent Cup T20. Just give us your outlook from that perspective.
It's a new dawn for cricket. For me, I feel that like in European history, the French Revolution of 1879, like what they say.
1779.
1879.
1879.
I insist. I insist. I think I am very good with history. I got a distinction.
Post-Napoleon.
Post-Napoleon, oh yes. When they said.
Yes, that's post-Napoleon.
When somebody coughed, the rest of Europe caught a cold. And that is Kenya. When Kenya coughs, the rest of Africa catches a cold, especially the associate nations. And those associate nations do include even an ODI nation in Namibia. Why do I say this? Is when we were growing up as youngsters, Kenya was a role model They were everybody had a Kenyan idol. In Uganda, when you go back to Uganda, even our Ugandan setup, all the people who played for Uganda have Kenyan names after Kenyan legends. There are people named Angara. There are coaches who call themselves Odoyo. There are people who call themselves Ganzi after Tikolo. It was crazy. I remember my idol was Jimmy Kamande, for example. I wore shirt number 11 when I played an age, and even for my club because of Jimmy Kamande. And then I went on to associate it with very many other big names, Daniel Vittori, Flintoff for England. I went to pick out all the 11s all over the world. And 11 became a magical number for me. But Jimmy Kamande's appearance at the 1999 World Cup in England, bowling raw pace to India, England, was for me an eye-opener. I said I was playing with Jimmy Kamande at the under-19 level. He came to Kampala. And then all of a sudden I see Jimmy Kamande in a World Cup, and I'm like, come on, this game can take you places if you are truly a true follower and very passionate like the Kenyans. But Kenyans have done Kenyan things, and somehow the game is not loving them as much as it used to love them, because they've tried to be their own problem.
Well, not getting into the the politics of it, but this kind of competition where you bring in the countries, so that we don't have Tanzania and Uganda, because if TZ was here, then I'm very sure you'd be sitting next to your idol Jimmy Kamande, who's coaching Tanzania at the moment. But what have you seen at the Nairobi Gymkhana, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
What I've seen is the hunger, the passion, and the notice. Everybody knows the assignment is clear. The assignment is to keep the game rising. We've seen Kenya, for me, for the first time. They've done the right things. Team wasn't in camp for as long. They only had a camp for 4 days. Absurd, but that is the Kenyan way. But what they've done is they have assembled the best 11 available, mixed the experience with the young upcoming talent, Gerard Mutui. We'll see Peter Kowech, the Nakuru Express, coming through maybe in the next second round of games. But the captaincy has been given to the right person for the first time ever. In Rakib Patel, they have a man who's played not one World Cup. Collins Obuya may be on his way out, but if you can't buy that experience in a supermarket or an Asda or a mall, you have to keep him there and help the transition come along through nicely. Many of the Kenyan journalists at the press conference or the launch were asking very many bitter questions of asking Odoyo, who is the development officer now, the development manager, Thomas Migai, when does Collins call it a day? But people have got to earn the right to retire when they desire because of what they put on the table. Collins Obuya is leading the run scoring here today. In a big game in the Mijinjo Derby against Uganda, he almost rocked up his first century in T20 eyes.
Yes, 96?
96 not out in quick time of 53 balls. Well, that was
That's a crazy strike rate.
That was a masterclass in batting, and the Ugandans, I think, learned a lesson also. So it tells you that you've seen Rwanda are on the rise. Rwanda have been the unofficial home of cricket in Africa during the post-COVID times and COVID times, because they have made the basics right. They have set up a home of cricket in Gahanga. They have a center, the IPRC, where almost everybody who plays cricket does study or is given a scholarship to go to. They have a hotel, La Palisse in Nyamata, where all their teams do camp, from the Olympic team to the football team. So anything to do with biobubble space is catered for. So in Rwanda, if they've done the administration right, they end up having the other things done easy, because you can have a net session at the hotel. You don't have to move out of the city center. And then when they host, they've shown that we don't want to be just mere participants. They don't want to be just hospitable. They want to be beasts at home. Against all odds, Rwanda beat Botswana in Kigali last year. Rwanda beat Malawi when no one, against all odds, against the run of play, to make sure they qualify for the Africa finals. And the Africa finals is a table of men, and Rwanda know to play against a table of men, they need to bring in some technical expertise. They've had Martin Suji, who's done a lot of work, and we've seen the talent Martin Suji has brought through, the likes of Inyas in Tiringanya, like for me, the pace bowler, the young pace bowler. And then now you've seen on the technical bench, Martin Suji's contract run out. They brought in Lee Booth from Cricket Without Boundaries, who's been to Kenya a couple of times, he's been to Uganda many times, and he knows cricket in and out.
Innocent, will be coming back to you. And Adeline, he's mentioned everything about the development centers, the IPRC, Gahanga. Adeline, you'll be telling us about that. We've got Adeline Tuyizere, who is the assistant coach of the Rwanda side, Kenyan legend Joseph Angara, who is coach of Botswana, and from Uganda, we've got Innocent Ndawula. He is a sports writer, and he's been basically making Kenya his home. He's here every so often. So hold out for that. We shall be coming back in a short while. And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 12th day of June 2023. We're counting 10 days to the start of the WRC Safari Rally, and this is going to be taking place in Nairobi. That's where you've got the Kasarani Super Special Stage, and the rest of it is around Naivasha. That will be Friday the 23rd, Saturday the 24th, and Sunday the 25th. KBC Channel 1 will be bringing you all the TV stages live, just like we did with Rally Italia. My name is Daniel Wahome, and in studio with us is a conversation about cricket, the Continent Cup, T20 Africa. It's a T20 format. Kenya are the hosts. Uganda, Rwanda, and Botswana are participating. They're going to be playing against each other 3 times, with the top 2 teams playing off in the final. And on my immediate left here, I've got Adeline Tuyizere, who's the assistant coach of the Rwanda side that is participating in the competition. Right in the middle, we've got Joseph Angara. He is a former Kenya international. He is one of the players who put Kenya right at the top, way back, about 20 years back. These were the heroes. In those days, I'll tell you, we used to pay 200 shillings to sit on grass. Today, we go for free to sit at places where tickets were 9,000 bob. That's how a game going down can change the entire sporting ecosystem. And on my far left, we've got Innocent Ndawula. He's a cricket writer and everything around African football. And before we took the break, Innocent mentioned about, the kind of work that Rwanda is doing, setting up a center, scholarships, and Adeline is here. He's spoken about your country, Rwanda, and the work. Now, just expound on it and exactly how that setup works.
Yes, thank you very much again. IPRC, the ground that Innocent Ndawula just mentioned, I take it as a cricket hub, or it is more of cricket hub but a sports hub, because it is now hosting tennis tournaments. The Billie Jean Cup is happening from the same center.
That's the 4. Billie Jean Cup, Africa 4, because Africa 3 is here.
Yes. So looking at IPRC, it is a center for every cricketer. It is right in the center. We call it Kichukiro Center. So everyone around Kigali can play cricket from IPRC Kigali, and it is a college. It is a university, so it offers scholarships for cricketers. Looking at our team, we have 4 players who studies in the same center. It's called IPRC Kigali. So it is something that has been inspirational towards the growth of the game in Rwanda throughout the years. Because looking at the legend, there is Eric Dusingizimana, the Guinness World Record holder. He's also playing for the national team. He studied there as well. So everyone who is growing up in the game is looking forward to study in IPRC. There are nets there. There's a cricket ground, very nice, well built nowadays, and it is hosting tournaments as well. The Kwibuka is happening from there. We have a lot of tournaments happening from there. So it is a ground that is making strides towards the growth of the game in Rwanda. Looking at Gahanga Cricket Stadium, on every Saturday, Sunday mornings from 6 to 11, it accommodates around 500 kids a day. And a lot of players who are playing, there are 3 boys who are playing in the same team. They also grew up from Gahanga. 4-5 years ago. And looking at in the girls' team, 4 girls grew up from Gahanga, from the same program. So the development programs are really, really working, because we have a lot of development officers all over the country in different regions. And we do play a lot of age category teams tournaments. So that is where the growth of cricket is, and that is where the players come from. From the camps we do, from the tournaments, the inter-schools tournament, from hosting under 15 tournaments on a national level. So that is where everything is coming from.
Well, thank you very much, Adeline. He's the assistant coach of the Rwanda side that's playing in the Continent T20, in the Continent Cup T20 Africa that's happening at the Nairobi. Jim Kanda, Joseph Angara, I'll be coming to you, but first, my colleague Mary Wavinya is in Nairobi, and you know, it's all about the Safari Rally, and she is in a rally car seated, and she is joined by FIA Rally stars Hamza Anwar and Jeremiah Wahome. Mary Wavinya, over to you before those boys give you a spin of your life.
Wahome, thank you very much. Don't worry about that. We all love talking. I'm with the Rally Star team, with Hamza Anwar and Jeremiah Wahome. Yeah, you have to call him Jeremiah. I must insist. And of course, we are heading towards the WRC Safari Rally 2023, starting from 22nd to 25th of this month, from Nairobi to Naivasha. And I'm at Atrep Motors. That is Tams Racing Rally Development Team. And Hamza has to leave, but before he leaves, he decided to squeeze me in this seat, the navigator seat. But he's not here, he's in Mombasa, so I have to play the part, but I'm not driving anywhere. The car has to be sorted. So Hamza, tell me, you are the Rally of Sardinia. So tell me, how was it, first of all?
No, it was a good rally. It was very positive. We didn't finish in the where we wanted to, but it was positive. We set a third fastest stage time, so it's really boosted our confidence. And now we look forward to the safari.
And Wahome says that you face him. He's looking at you. So as you also competed in Croatia, and I think that's a very good build-up towards the WRC Safari Rally. And also you did ARC? Yeah.
Yes,
this year, last
the
year?
ARC and Rally Sweden.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing. A lot of different terrain changes. I've covered tarmac. I've covered all different surfaces so far, and now it's my favorite and best of all service. You know, on dirt, on gravel. So we also have engineer Biscuit here, doing a very good job. You know, Biscuit looks after everything and makes sure, you know, all the car is all okay. As you can see, he's inspecting.
Is the cat? Yes.
Biscuit.
He's inspecting, making sure that
he's
everything
the mechanic
is...
cat. You see, he knows everything and he's sorting everything out. So that's very nice of him. And we're very thankful to Biscuit. He's done a very good job, and as you can see, he knows that Wavinya is not my normal co-driver, and yeah.
He's making sure I'm okay. I don't interfere with anything, because this car must be ready for scrutineering.
He's inspecting everything. As you can see, he knows where the sensors are. He knows the brake pedal. I think maybe I haven't put fresh socks on, perhaps. See, he's happy. That means he's happy.
That's lovely. So Hamza, tell me about the car you are showing us.
This is our Fiesta Rally 3. It's the modern day production kind of vehicle to race, and it's the go-to. And I can't start it because it's not yet ready for testing. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing machine, and such a small 3-cylinder engine can keep up with the mights of the big R5 Rally 2 cars, which we will be competing against. It's going to be amazing. We're 5 in our category, 3 Kenyan drivers, 1 driver from Paraguay and another driver from Canada. So it's going to be an interesting battle, and I'm wishing the best for me and my team, which consists of Jeremiah Wahome and Makre Kimathi, and let's see if we can hold the flag high. I know we're confident, we're hungry young gentlemen, and we're going to make the best out of this opportunity.
And since 2021, how's your journey been up to now?
It's been fantastic. We've come from here and now we're here. So it's coming from grassroots level, which I started with the National Autocross Series, and a few years later, I'm competing with amongst the best in the world, and some of the drivers that I'm competing against will be world champion one day. So it's amazing for a Kenyan to be out on the world stage and do the Junior World Rally Championship, and I'm very thankful. Everything is from God, and we say Alhamdulillah.
How did you fare in 2021 and 2022?
2021 was not my year, but I learnt a lot. 2022 was a year that I couldn't prove my real speed, but I could hold everything together and win my championships. I became the Junior Africa champion, and with that I also was third in Africa. So that was a great achievement, and I think I was also third nationally in Kenya. So a big milestone for me and for us as a team as well. We're all growing, we're all achieving great things, and we're all pushing ourselves to limits and beyond. But 2023 was my big break onto the international overseas world stage. And I'm very thankful to my sponsors and the corporates. We're still looking to more people to come on board onto this amazing program and represent our beautiful country.
And you're still the youngest, I presume?
Yes, me and Jeremiah share the same age. McRae is becoming old, but he's the old goat. But he is very experienced and has a very level head when it comes to motorsport. So we all learn something from each other, and we all push each other, and it's amazing how far we've come.
And they love teasing each other. You should see McRae, but he's not here at the moment. Finally, before you leave, because I have to let you go back to work, because there's a lot of preparations. They have a launch tomorrow,
Yes, with
Kenya Airways. So I have to let him go. I'll remain with Jeremiah, but talk to your fans. What are your expectations?
My expectations are for you all to be very safe, to be honest. Enjoy the rally, and make sure you subscribe and follow the correct pages, and if you could really give us some support at Hamza Anwar Racing for our social media, and keep up to date with the event. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, the lot. Even our YouTube channel is being launched soon, so keep in touch with the event and know what's going on, and of course KBC all the way.
Thank you Hamza, it was good talking to you. I have to get out of this car. It is another journey for me. Jeremiah will help me out. So we'll see you around. Jeremy, hold the mic for me. Let me see if I can get out of here with my left leg. Yes. Finally I'm out. Let's cross the mic over here. And with Jeremy, we are going to walk to your car. So you tell me, how's the year been for you?
The year's been a bit quiet, but we've had 2 rallies, which hopefully will be good preparation for us. We did the Machakos rally in January, which we managed to win, and then the ARC rally in Voi in April, which is a good event. We were lying second, but unfortunately couldn't bring it home, but we've learned our lesson. So it's a good prep. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very comfortable in the car, so hopefully that pace and form will translate into good speed at the Safari Rally.
And the Equator, were you at the Equator Rally? I know a lot was happening during that time. So how was it?
Yes, I was at the Equator Rally. It was a 2-day event, so at the end of the first day, we were actually going quite well. We were lying in second place overnight. That's what I was saying earlier. We were lying in second place, but unfortunately on the Sunday, in the second last stage, I just clipped a pole with my right front tire and knocked the steering link off. So I wasn't able to finish. But up until then, the pace was really good. So I'm taking that as a lot of encouragement that we're going in the right direction, and hopefully for Safari, we should be able to put it all together and have a very strong finish.
And it's a grueling journey. I remember 2021, I'm sure you've got the right. Now we are at his car. We were at Hamza's car. Now we are at the car. Somebody is working on everything. So how is everything? How are the preparations this time?
The preps are good. The guys Motortrep, they're always doing a good job to ensure that we are always ready. And you also have to remember these are in a way development cars. So these cars, though they're 3 years old now, a lot of the lessons are being learned firsthand, and what we can do to improve, how we can set it up better. We had a few of the guys from Poland, where the cars are built, who came in a few weeks ago to just check that everything was okay, and we're expecting them back for this rally. So we're guaranteed that everything will be in top-notch condition, and that's the best we can do to prepare, and then the rest is in God's hands. So whatever we overlook, we also hope that we'll find anything that won't be up to scratch.
And Jeremiah, you've come a long way from Formula 3 to WRC, and 2021, I think that was your best year?
Yeah, that was my first year in rallying, and yes, coincidentally my best. We came in very fresh, had no expectations, had not driven the car until shakedown, any rally car that is. So I always look back at that and wonder, that was actually way crazier than what the task seemed like. But we were good, we had no issues, we finished all the stages, and I think that's what helped us get to the end in a really good position. We were fast in our class, and then in 2022 we were really strong as well. But unfortunately on the first day we had a power problem and the car switched off, so we didn't complete any stage on Friday. But once we got back, we racked up a couple of stage wins, and in the end we finished second, so can't complain with how that ended up. So hopefully this year we'll be back to how 2021 was.
I think you did pretty well, and when you talk about Jeremiah Wahome, he'll be navigated by Victor Okundi. And is based in Mombasa,
yes,
in the RC3. Yes. That used to be the WRC3. And Malewa is back.
Yes, Malewa is back.
What are your comments about that?
I'm trying to remember how it was. To be honest, 2021 for me was quite a blur, because we didn't actually even do recce for that stage because we were a bit late. We had a bit of COVID complications, so the whole weekend was just so busy. But we'll see how it is during recce. I think it'll still be a bit wet because it's been raining on and off, so that'll, I think, be the biggest challenge this year. So we'll see how we'll navigate it best, and Victor and I will be hoping to do a very good job at recce, because that's where the weekend really begins. If you don't have good notes, no matter how good you are as a driver, you can't compensate for not having a good recce day. So that's our main focus.
And from Uhuru Park, they'll head to the super special stage at Kasarani. I talked to one of the clerk, of course, and he told me they've taken care of the dust. And are you ready for that? Because Nairobi Panzer will be waiting for you at Kasarani.
That'll be fun. It's always nice, exciting, and also very nerve-wracking to be rallying in front of so many home fans, being a Kenyan as well. So hopefully have a good run. I'll be going against Hamza again. I went against him last year. He beat me by a second. So hopefully this year, well, all in all, we're just looking to have a really good, healthy competition. I was saying earlier, I remember in my first year I was so nervous. I didn't even remember to put the car in its most competitive mode, but we still finished well. So hopefully we'll be able to put on a good show, and it's always fun rallying in Kasarani, and you can almost hear the people cheering, though we can't, but it feels that way.
So what are your expectations this year, talking to your fans, including Wahome? Look at him. I'm sure he's dying to talk to you. Yeah. Jeremiah.
My expectations, as I said, 2021 was really strong, as was 2022, so we just want to pick off from there. We have a couple of guys coming in from Europe who are participating in the junior championship and have also been racing around the world, so it'll be really nice to compare our level with theirs, and then to see really how fruitful the program in Kenya, the Rally Star program, is, based on how well we compare with them. And then hopefully the signs are encouraging, and we can also join them in Europe at some point.
Yeah, I was dying to ask you that. So thank you very much, Jeremiah. I'm sure you have to go. You have to go back because there's a lot of preparations. As I said, they have a launch tomorrow, Kenya Airways, and they need to prepare their cars. They need to prepare themselves ready for that launch. So it was speaking to Jeremiah Wahome and Hamza Anwar, who's left. Makre will be joining us later, but not now because there's something he's doing. But they'll be racing in Rally 3. That is the Rally Stars. Please do support them from Nairobi to Naivasha. And remember, you can watch 5 stages live on KBC Channel 1. We have been doing it over the years from 1953, and we are still doing it for you. So keep on supporting KBC, keep on supporting our Rally Stars. Remember, we also have a female crew, and we'll be catching up with them soon. I'm Wavinya Musa reporting from that day. Rams, Tams, is it Tams?
Motor Art. Yes, Motor Art.
Motor Art.
Thank you very much, Mary Wavinya. And, speaking to the FIA Rally Star program drivers, Jeremiah Wahome and Hamza Anwar. Hamza Anwar is also competing in the Junior World Rally Championship. He's been to Sweden He has been to Croatia. And recently was in Italy. So still he's got Greece and Portugal to do and compete with it. Second Kenyan to get into that program in its current form. Last year it was Makare Kimathi. And let's see their learning lessons as they prepare for the Safari Rally. We continue with our conversation, and this one's about cricket. And we are talking about the Continent Cup, T20 Africa. Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Botswana. Those are the participating nations, and it's taking place at the Nairobi Gymkhana. Entry is free. Unlike if it was being played 20 years ago, 200 bob would mean you sit in the grass. You want to sit on the proper stands, you pay in excess of 3,000 bob. And there's a TV for you to watch. And there's also a TV somewhere that was already set up for all those who made it there. But it's a different time. And so for 3 match days, we already have had that. There's still another round of matches to be played before the final comes to a close. And coming to Joseph Angara, who is the coach of Botswana. He is a Kenyan legend. He was in that team that put Kenya right up there. There's Innocent Davula on my far left, and we also have got Adeline Tuyizere. Angara, looking at what he has said about pulling through youngsters through education and that, what's the program that exists in Botswana?
Well, luckily, Botswana, the Sports Council is in support of cricket, much more better, and all students who excel in their studies as a sportsman, you are educated throughout from university, whether it's in the country or Australia or England. And a couple of them have gone. We got Shamila, who went to England, who's our captain for the ladies. We had Tarindu Pereira, who was under 19 captain. He's in Australia studying. We also had Bozo, who's also in Australia. So a couple of boys have been taken by the government to study because of sports.
Now, the activities around now when it comes to the communities and the various towns and cities in Botswana, how do you reach out so that you keep tapping the talent? Don't end up, because I think Kenya's best story would be Nakuru, where at one point was producing half the women's national team.
I think the first thing when I went to Botswana that I realized there was no cricket culture. So the first people that I had to tap in were the teachers in schools. So we called them for cricket courses. We had to educate them through cricket courses. They went back to school and spread the game. Then we also have employed development coaches who are like in Francistown. We have one in Piquet, we have few in Gaborone, we have one in Moleps, and Reginald Leandro, who's also one of the players in the national team, is doing a very good job in Moleps. That majority of the players are coming from that area.
Now, let's now come down to seeing how they move up, because I know another thing that's in your mind is all about age grade, because we've got the under-19 coming up in TZ soon. So how do you then blood them, making sure that they get prepared for this stage, especially when it comes to mental toughness?
Yeah, of course, it's not much cricket in Botswana, and also with the facilities available. So we always have camps during the school holidays. We keep these boys in the camp like for 2 weeks, just to try and mentor them and play hard cricket, talk to them, and play more matches because of facilities that are not. They can only get better facilities when they come to Gaborone, or they go to Francistown, or in a place called Lobatse. So we take them from there, and then we have the age groups also during the school league. Like first term we have the under-13s, second term we have the under-15s and under-17s.
Innocent, just give us a scenario that Uganda cricket has at the moment, because we saw, at one point Uganda rise to a point where whenever Kenya played against them, everyone would, would feel their heart trying to move up towards the throat.
Of course, you know that Kenya, Uganda, any sport is the biggest derby in East Africa. It doesn't just start and stop with soccer. We've seen it come across all the other different sports. Rugby, the rivalry is strife now. And with Kenya's recent struggles in rugby, Uganda thinking they will inch ever close. But let's keep it to cricket.
You have one guy, Wakaracha, you know what he does to people. Oh yeah, and also rallying. The rivalry is good.
The rivalry is in rallying. We have the Just Mangats of this world coming head to head with Carl Tundo. In the past years, Carl Tundo is now chairman of the local organizing committee of the Safari Rally. We have it all across. Our volleyball girls have tried to emulate the Kenyan girls. And unfortunately, again, Kenya in volleyball is trying to go south as Uganda go north. So it's a story of Kenya trying to give Uganda leverage to catch up. And Uganda always looking to size up those opportunities. And I can tell you, Uganda have sized up those opportunities. In cricket, Uganda are the current African champions because they beat Kenya in the final. Uganda also have the bragging rights to beat Kenya. Uganda did beat Kenya for the first time in an ICC event. Forget the friendlies where Kenya, the Angaras, used to send us a small AfriPulse team called AfriPulse, and Uganda get a game or two. But now, Uganda have gone on and just even over 200 runs against Kenya. I was very happy. For me, for example, before I answer your question, I was very happy. For example, your question when you said the games are at Gymkhana and Kenya hosting. And I was very happy when Kenya won. And Kenya won with a big margin. They are setting and stamping their authority. They're saying, yes, we may be lacking with the administration, but we as the players, we know we must do our bit. Because the players have the class, they have the experience, and you don't buy experience in a supermarket, like I said. And this Kenyan outfit showed the class, and the big players came to the party. And the transition is there now. It's being seen. We've seen youngsters like Vraj Patel. The under-19 captain was drafted into the side, Vishil Patel, after Tanzil Sheikh got injured. Sachin Budia, who captained Kenya at the under-19 World Cup in New Zealand in 2018, is in the squad. So we're seeing Gerard Mithoi, the young boy there, Peter Kowech from Nakuru. You talked about Nakuru being a hub of the girls' cricket. Of course, the Quinta Abels, the Easy Wairi, Munjaloge. But for Kenya to win means on Tuesday, tomorrow in the afternoon, when Kenya does play Uganda, it's a working day, but I tell you, we will have fans in the stadium. Yes. Because they know of what Uganda can do. These two teams have played out games of 240 runs, and one has lost chasing 240. The games are in Kigali, games have gone for 500 runs, a T-20 game between Kenya and Uganda. So that's how close Uganda has bridged the gap. And what has Uganda done to bridge the gap? Uganda first have accepted that we have to make cricket all-inclusive, like ICC says. Before, it was very hard for players of color to play in the Ugandan side. Yesterday, for the first time since Akbar Beg, who you know very well, who played for Uganda back in the days in the Intercontinental Cup here, captained Uganda. 15 years down the road, we had a first player of color captain in Uganda in a T20 match because our coach felt Brian should take a rest. Brian Mark Masaba, the captain, and the vice captain, the young boy Kenneth Waiswa. So we had Riyazat Alisha captaining the side at the age of 22. So it shows you that if we have allowed the players of color to play, we are copying the script that Kenya had. But although Kenya, it's quite a different story, because you know, Asif Karim may have been a player of color, but he's truly and proudly a Kenyan. Yeah, we know what Hitesh Modi is, what the father's contribution to the game is, yeah, and all these things that come into play. So Uganda have done that, and Uganda have realized, yes, you can only get more money if the big boys are playing all the national teams. But development is a must. The development hubs in Uganda are quite amazing now with the introduction of South Africa his former under-19 coach, Lawrence Matlane. Matlane is a black boy, grew up in the ghetto, lucky to be in the setup of white boys down in South Africa. I don't want to look or sound racist, but I am not. But I'm saying it as it is, because you know South Africa. It's the reality of it. Yes, sir. Like having, 25 years ago, you wouldn't have, it was difficult to have a black man in the Proteas. Yes. So what Matlan has done is taken the game to everywhere. He's asked the development manager. When he came in, his contract was just head coach national team. Now he's also the high performance manager, and all the other coaches and setups report to him. In Uganda, things like analyst, who are luxuries on national teams. He's saying, media manager, what are you going to do with the national team? Things like physiotherapists on teams, they were looked at as luxuries. Video analyst, assistant coach, Uganda never used to treasure such things. But even our women's team down in Kigali has a player who belongs to this setup of the national team, the cricket queens that are here. But because he's injured, and we know he's going through a recovery period, Davis Muhumuza, who was also captain the side, he's sent down to lend his expertise to the coaches so that the teams can come and rise through. So the hubs, for example, we have some of the best bowlers you will see coming from northern Uganda, who will relate to the Maasais, tall, fast, and furious. if you watched Fast and Furious 10, you would know a thing or two about how fast someone can go.
Fellows like Walsh.
Yes, very tall and very willing to play. And so you get these guys to come through. Some of our best bowlers are coming from Eastern Uganda, Soroti. We have the best bowling pair, I think, in Africa now. If it comes to bowling, there's a girl, of course, Adelaide, as the coach knows, Evelyn Anyipo and Irina Lumo. Irina Lumo bowled 4 overs for no run against Namibia recently, and she was picked immediately for the fair break competition that where the women can play. She was put into the draw already. Yesterday we have another girl who opens the bowling with her, Evelyn Anyipo. She bowled 4 overs, 1 run, 3 maidens and 4 wickets against Rwanda when Uganda managed to win that game yesterday by 7 wickets.
That's mean.
That is very mean. So it tells you, and these girls, when you look at them, they're 7-footers. Sometimes the balls are bowled in areas that are unplayable. You find yourself you're fending for life. So it's
ask him. He knows what he used to do.
No, this man, and for me, yes, this man doesn't get enough respect for me in Kenyan cricket. Person who's bowled out Sachin Tendulkar, who's had Brian Lala playing on the back foot, one of the most beautiful bowling actions you've ever seen, him and Martin Suji. I feel these guys here have not been treated fairly enough by Cricket Kenya and the Kenyan government. Especially, I'll throw this to Ababu Mwamba, the cabinet secretary for sports here. We need to look after the legends. We need to make sure the sports develop, and we need to make sure everything called sport does bring more mileage in terms of advertisement. We've seen what Kipjegon has gone.
Yes.
You don't need $1 million advert on TV if Kipjegon is going to do what she's doing currently. You just need to promote the sports. These guys will fly the flag high. Kenyan rugby 7 circuit, for it to be in the doldrums, it's in now. Yet they've beaten up on teams like in New Zealand and South Africa and won 7 circuits on the IRB and Rugby World Series. You feel that sports is being given leftovers and breadcrumbs instead of being given the big buffet.
Well, let me tell you, when you bring a scribe into the studio, at one point he will open up and you'll think that he's going off the rails, but that's not the case. Now, Angara, let's talk women's cricket now in Botswana and how to get girls to pick up the sport. And also because I know you converse a lot with Peter Ongondo, who was also in the team with you, and how that Nakuru thing worked, such that at one point, some time back, out of the 12 players who had been called up from the national team, 7 were from Nakuru.
I think it's the same program that we put up for the boys and the girls. We're still getting girls from the primary school to junior secondary school and senior. So it's the same thing now. We've also put the girls to play in the GCC League with Gaborone Cricket League so that they get more matches before any competition comes up.
Okay. Now, Adeline, let me just come to you now.
Yep.
Women's cricket in Rwanda, and also just tell us basically about the Kwibuka tournament that is going on at the moment.
Yes, thank you very much.
Actually, it's easier for you to start with the Kwibuka tournament. Its history and and because we've got the representation from
definitely.
Actually this table here. There's a Kenyan there. There's a man from Rwanda here. There's a Kenyan. Our women are playing there.
Yes, thank you very much. Talking about Kwibuka, it's a memorial tournament to remember the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. It's a tournament that brings quality in the country, and again, it gives an opportunity to women's cricket all over Africa and all over the globe. Because we've seen last year Brazil, Germany joining in the competition. So it is giving motivation to women's cricket in Rwanda to know that they are also thought of, they are also involved in the game, and they can raise a country's flag high. So looking at the ongoing Kwibuka, Rwanda is looking at winning the tournament for the very first time, and it was unfortunate that we lost to Uganda yesterday and again Nigeria, but again they still have very many games to go, because they will play each other twice. So I'm sure they will put in a lot of hard work to make sure that they play the finals, maybe, hopefully. But again, looking at Kenya, Uganda, Botswana, and Rwanda as well, the quality that they bring into the game is at its highest. It is not going well at the moment, but again, it is the conditions. Maybe the tournament is still early. It's still early. You never know what will come out today or the next day after the rest day. But it is really growing, and the ICC now, it is an ICC recognized tournament, so it is bringing a lot of positives in women's cricket in Rwanda.
And I know Innocent wanted to react, but I am the one person who would not react. I mean, who's going to shock you. Nigeria beat Kenya, Angara. What is it that you've seen Steve Tikolo do wherever he's been? Tanzania, Uganda, and now Nigeria. What's the kind of thing that it takes to any side that he leads? Because we were even shocked. Tanzania beating Kenya. That was unheard of before.
I'm sure you even saw one of our Kenya ladies who's now the betting consultant for Nigeria, that's Sarah Wetoto, who's part of that, and the experience that Sarah has, you can buy it, as Innocent says. So it's all about hard work, consistency, and commitment.
Right. Now let's talk about the outlook for the rest of the year. First of all, playing every month is something that you want to do. What are the things that you're trying to look at so that anytime you move to a different country, Africa is, people may see, to some people Africa is a country, but the moment you leave Kenya and you go to Zimbabwe, the conditions are, you'll find or even if you go down to Botswana now, you're headed to the Botswana winter now.
Yes, we are in winter.
You're in winter.
Yeah.
Speaking to a Kenyan, thinking, he's become a Botswana man. He's lived there for the last almost 8 years now. But how are you preparing your sides to meet these extremely changing conditions around the continent?
Well, I think first of all, if you look at Botswana, it's closer to South Africa and Zimbabwe. So most of the time we know the level that Zimbabwe is. We always go to Bulawayo to play the Tuskers team. So that's our biggest part of preparation, that we get a lot of exposure in playing teams that are up there. Sometimes you go to Bulawayo, sometimes you go to South Africa. Like before we went to Southern T-20 region, we went to Pretoria to play a Titans Academy side, which was really helped us going into the tournament. So yes, the conditions are a bit different, but look like now we come back from winter, the ball is a bit swinging, and it's nice that the wickets at Gymkhana now have just new wickets and really hard surface, and it's really seaming. So the ball is coming to the bat, and I'm sure if you look at majority of the captains, they win the toss and they really want to bat. So it's something that it's taken into consideration in terms of preparation.
Okay. Now, from where you sit, Innocent, and the various competitions, including what you're going to have, because at the moment Namibia is a force to reckon with. They always seem to rub off South Africa. As we head towards the T20 qualifiers, what are you seeing as real development points in Africa? In countries that are actually emerging and people are tended to forget about them.
For me, you've got to give a lot of flowers to Africa post-COVID era. The biggest setback for all African economies and sports in Africa is the lack of ample finances. The federations or the associations, Botswana will tell Coach, my good friend here, Joseph Angara, will tell you that Botswana Cricket Association don't have enough, as much as they would have loved. Rwanda Cricket Association are starting to get some government support. Uganda, because of the consistent performances with the teams, under 19 teams going to the World Cup, the women going to the global qualifiers in Netherlands 2018, they have been included among the priority sports. Cricket has been included, and they get an equivalent of, they get 1.2 billion shillings per year. 1.2 billion, if you do a quick maths as a Kenyan, you'll know it's around 300 million, 400 million Kenya shillings per year from nothing. If you get that from the government.
Actually 40 million.
40 million, yes. Thank you. you get that and supplement it with ICC gives you. Because of certain things, the ICC have a scorecard. They ask how many schools are playing the game, how many grounds have you got, how many kids have you brought into the game. So many countries find themselves, they don't have that. They say, how many girls competitions have you had? Kenya have not been competing, for example, in ICC events at the girls level for some time now, which is absurd. Because, like I said, Kenya need to cough again inside the rest of Africa catches a cold. For Kenya not to compete with the talent they have, Margaret Banja, who I think still has enough left in her tank to play. Sharon Juma recently retired, absurd, in Uganda during the Victoria Series. She must wake up with all her talent because I've seen her play badminton for Kenya as well. She must come back and play. Sarah Bakita Wetoto is a batting consultant, yet we know she scored the first 100 in women's cricket in Africa. A big mammoth 170 plus. Yeah, these people must come back and play. Maslina Diambo, where are they running? Where are they becoming Morifes? So they shouldn't be running anywhere. So you want to feel that the talent we have, everyone in the world comes to Africa and wow, they are wowed by the talent they see across the table. So you've got to give flowers for me first to Rwanda, for their population, for the things they do. When you go to Rwanda, it's a busy day every day at the cricket ovals. When you go to Rwanda, everyone from playing, you see a national team player after playing is coaching. You say coach is trying to do administration work later on. When Martin Suju was there, it was hard to think he's a technical director. When the women are playing, he's in the dugout. When the men are playing, he's the head coach. When it comes to office work, he's typing office work. So, and Rwanda Cricket Association have opened up to the world, and they have an eye for catching talent. They caught for me the biggest fish in terms of our women's coaches in Leonard Namboro. There's a Zimbabwean there. The guy was with Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was winning African championships. He went to Namibia. Namibia beat Zimbabwe for women with a thin squad of literally people who are just taking up the game. He's taken all that love to Rwanda. He took Rwanda. Rwanda, we are thinking they'll go to the World Cup in 20 years. He took them to the World Cup in 2 years. So Rwanda have lived their dream already. So such things are happening in Rwanda quickly. Then you have to give it to Botswana for their ability to push their board to make sure the players get more games. Gone are the years when national teams, for example, forget Kenya. Kenya were in a world-class environment. When national teams, women or men in Africa, were playing one tournament a year. They were looking for one tournament. But the men, for example, and the women, our women have played 4 tournaments in the year already. The men are playing their second. Already Botswana will be counting the third if they come down to Rwanda to July for another tournament that's happening very soon. There is an African championship at the back end. There is a Pearl of Africa series in Uganda in September to prepare all the teams going to Namibia for the finals. So all these things, there is no exchange for game time. The exposure, the experience you get playing, when you bowl a wide today, you're hit for a 4 in a certain area, you can only get better if you do it again in a match environment that is competitive. That is the beauty that African cricket has risen up to, and because the game is attractive in Africa now, and Africa, they love to call us the dark continent. For me, I like to call us the gem continent, because the sponsors are now trying to bring in the money, saying, we have products to sell. These games are on TV. People are making money, and the players are getting something in their pockets, and that's what you love to see, because many of our sportsmen come from the ghettos.
Innocent Ndawula is a cricket writer, writes for the Monitor in Uganda. Thank you very much, Sebo. And we've got Joseph Angara. He's a Kenyan legend, but don't ask where he's got that Botswana library. He is the coach. Actually, he's leading the development of the game in Botswana, and he's here with the national team. And we've got Adeline Tuhizere. He's the assistant coach of the Rwanda side, and they're all here for the Continent Cup T20 Africa happening at the Nairobi Gymkhana, and the Mijingo Derby tomorrow. Kenya versus Uganda, and in the morning it will be Rwanda against Botswana. They're here smiling together, but tomorrow
derby day for them.
It's a derby day for them. So thank you very much for being with us on Sports Check this morning.